review of Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is the author of the book Truth Has No Sides, no other than Mr. Charley Johnson. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Charlie, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah, man, thank you for having me. Born and raised in Utah, very religious Mormon state. I wasn't Mormon. I wasn't religious. I wasn't Catholic. I wasn't atheist. It was a very unique upbringing. I didn't do well around kids my age.
Yes.
Very early on, I was offered a job around 16, 17. And as soon as I got inside corporate America business, I thrived. I loved being around adults. I loved asking questions. I loved learning. I loved figuring out how they acted, how they treated each other, how they ran the business, how they grew it, all that. Just enjoyed it. Um, Very early on into the company, too, the lady that took a chance on me, the CEO, she passed away unexpectedly on a Saturday. Myself and another individual, very young at the time, I think early 20s, we were pushed into taking over the company. So it was 150 employees looking at a couple kids, wondering if their paychecks were going to clear. We were blissfully ignorant to what was going on. We did what we needed to do, and we did very well in that company. I left that company probably after about 14 years. Um, I developed a fear of flying during that time after flying 2 million miles in that company. That is the time when the universe decided to step in and push me out, in a sense. The fear of flying had nothing to do with the fear of flying because a month later, after I left the company, I was on a plane to Europe. Uh, During that time, I took over the Pay It Forward Foundation, the famous book and movie, Random Acts of Kindness, and grew that with getting tens of millions of people involved around the world. But during that time, when this is where the Chief Consciousness Officer comes from and the book, during that time, I had met an individual who started to talk to me about meditation, talk to me about some very unique books. A very old gentleman that I crossed paths with at the gym. He enjoyed our conversations. I loved our conversations. He brought me to his meditation teacher, which then led to my current teacher, a very, very enlightened individual, someone that can defy the laws of physics, someone that can see everything you're doing, read your thoughts, all of that. A very powerful individual. And during that time, he, speaking of books, he had me read everything, every religious text you could possibly think of, every high level book that you could possibly think of, books that very few people on this planet have read. Buckmaster Fuller, Manly P. Hall, Ramana Maharishi, just a plethora. He was a very unique teacher in he was not having me read to fill my mind with already overwhelming thoughts. It was already full. He was getting me to the point where I understood that everything was coming from the same source. All knowledge, all gods, all religions, all politics, all of this stuff that we fight over, all of the stuff that creates division and conflict, it's all coming from the same side. He helped me understand the removal of my bias and my conditioning could show me the clarity that everything that we fight over is the same. It's like the question of a coin. What's better, the heads or tails of the coin? Everyone will answer it's the same. It's just the same coin. Exactly. But yet we're fighting over politics. We're fighting over religions. We're fighting over all of this stuff within business and outside of business that just creates so much division and conflict. And it's been going on since the beginning of humanity. And we honestly believe at some point, one side's going to win, the other side's going to give up, and we're all going to go off into a utopic future. Well, we both know that's not going to happen. So that's where all of this came from. That's a very quick synopsis of my history, and that's that.
Mr. Charlie Johnson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Truth truth has no sides, challenges our instinct to polarize. How do you define truth in his context?
There is there's absolute truth and there's relative truth. The relative truth is the truth for a Catholic, and they have a certain belief, they believe certain things, they believe they're right. And then the relative truth for an atheist is the polar opposite. It causes division. So 8 billion people have 8 billion relative truths. A business has a different truth. A sports team has a different truth. Different races, different countries, different political sides. Everyone has a different truth. That type of truth is what causes all the division and conflict on this planet. Because you can have two 170 IQ Harvard grad individuals who one's a Republican and one's a Democrat, and their truths are at opposite ends and they despise each other. That relative truth is what causes all the chaos on this planet. Now, those relative truths came from somewhere. You and I came from somewhere. Knowledge came from somewhere. Every book we've ever read came from somewhere. All of the truths came from somewhere, or not all of it. That, that absolute truth that birthed all of it, consciousness, that is the truth we're looking for. That is the truth that everyone at their soul level is looking for. And we go about it with our mind. The mind's just the middleman. This tool that we've been given, the mind, is a very divided tool. It only knows this or that, either or. So it creates a lot of division and conflict. It creates a lot of relative truths. It creates a lot of individuals who say, I can just feel it in my bones. It's this is my truth. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's how we function. But that relative truth is opposing many other truths, and that's where all the division and conflict come from.
How does your book move beyond the win, lose, right, wrong binaries that dominate modern discourse?
Just kind of what we were just talking about. Truth has no sides, right? The absolute truth, the truth that everyone's really looking for, and if they could get past their mind, they would understand it. The consciousness, the truth that has no sides, is not Republican or Democrat. It is not Catholic or atheist. It is not Buddhist or Muslim. It is not up or down, right or wrong. It embodies all of it. It embodies everything that is on this planet, in this galaxy, in this universe, all the stars, all the sun, the plants, the animals, the beliefs, the ideals, the theories, the thoughts, everything. The truth that birthed all of it is consciousness. Consciousness is everything physical and non-physical. It's fundamental to our reality and to our existence. That truth, which everyone is, which everyone has access to, as time goes on, we build clarity, we get past our relative truths, we start to understand the division and conflict we create that we think the other side's creating. When we awaken to that truth, no sides.
Mr. Charlie, you write the truth is terrain, not a territory to defend. How does this shift in perspective change how we engage with conflict?
Well, humans engage in conflict because they think they're right and the other side's wrong. They engage in conflict because they want to leave the world better for the next generation. They want to make the world better for their kids. Well, a Catholic will go about it in a certain way. Okay. The conflict is engaged with an atheist. The atheist believes they have the right way of going about making the world better for their kids. A Republican has a certain set of ideals that they believe the world's going to get better through this way. That is in direct conflict with Democrats who are going in the polar opposite direction and believe the Republicans are ruining the world. So it creates conflict. Everyone I speak with wants to leave the world better for their kids. They want the planet to be better. They want humans to be kinder. They want to be kinder. But continuously, we are consciously or subconsciously choosing sides that create the division and conflict we want to rid the world of. We believe this other side of truth is ruining the world. Well, that side believes we're ruining the world. It's just constant. The house divided always falls. And we've been doing this since the beginning of humanity. Yet no one's asking the deeper question. No one's saying, "Hey, how do we figure this out? How do we get past the sides? How do we become bipartisan?" Because to each their own, agree to disagree, it doesn't work too well. It does when you're talking maybe amongst family and friends, but it doesn't do too well with strangers because look at how divided and conflicted the world is right now.
Interesting. Mr. Charlie, what personal experience or revelation convinced you that the truth transcends opposing perspectives?
Just the books, reading hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books, and realizing that the information in those books are just someone's opinion, and that opinion was based off of where they were raised, how they were taught, their education, who their parents were, what state they grew up in, what religion, what political views. Their family loved them, their teachers loved them, their friends loved them, everyone around them loved them. But that was part of their bias and their conditioning. And as much as people try to be neutral to certain scientific studies, to religions, to politics, it's just their opinion. And all of these books, if you if you don't have a side to choose, if you're not continuously looking to reinforce your side and tear down the other side, you have the clarity to understand that all of this information is coming from the same source. All of these gods are the same. All of these religions are the same. Political, all of this stuff on this planet that divides and conflicts everybody, it's all coming from the same source. So how can it be different? The only thing that's different is the human. A human born where you're at is going to be different, a different speaker, a different language, a different politics, a different religion, a different God they believe in. Someone where I'm from, completely different. But if you take someone born to a family in your country, but immediately adopted by someone here in Utah, they're going to be completely different. Different accent, different religion, different God, different politics. Someone born in Utah to a Mormon family, but from day one adopted by a family in your country, different individual, different language, different God, different politics. So that shows you very simply the conditioning that what we learn and who we're around is what builds our ideals and beliefs. If it's as easy as shifting by being raised in a different part of the country, a different part of the world, doesn't that make people realize that's just a relative truth? It blows me away that we're not really paying attention to this.
Indeed. How does the ego manufacture sides to protect identity, and what practices help dissolve this?
Asking different questions, reading different books, challenging your own beliefs. I'm sure most people will go into mindfulness or meditation as well. Um, Listening to conversations like this, doing research on consciousness, that is going to be the center of humanity moving forward. Consciousness is everything already. Consciousness is everything physical and non physical. The difference is we're becoming aware of it. More and more people are waking up to what consciousness is, that they are consciousness and they have access to it. Do the research on consciousness. Just Google it. Start to understand what it is. Start to see that it birthed all of the thoughts. Start to see that it birthed your truth, but also the people's truth that you oppose. Start to wonder why there are so many different truths and why there's so much division and conflict. Start to understand why we are ignorant to believing our side's going to win, the other side's going to lose, and everyone's going to be happy with that. Because if it was the other way around, we would not be happy with that. Just understand consciousness. Understand consciousness. Look into it.
How can disagreements become portals to deeper truth instead of battles?
Well, that's what we've been doing since the beginning of humanity. We've been having these discussions, these debates, these arguments, these discussions. And I was hoping as time went on, more and more people would understand it's all coming from the same source. But as you can see, we're more divided and conflicted than ever. So there, luckily, consciousness is its natural force. Consciousness is rising on this planet. It's forcing everyone to start thinking differently, to ask different questions, to see the other sides just like them. So, when humans are left to their own devices, we don't really do too many good things. We create division and conflict. Luckily, consciousness is not up to us. It does what it wants to do, and it's awakening more people to this conversation, awakening them to both sides are the same.
Indeed, the same situations like history repeat itself again and again.
Hmm.
What powerful questions help people move beyond defensiveness into shared exploration?
I like the coin question.
Yeah.
Asking someone who is hell bent on some political view, some religious view, and they're deep into an argument, just grab a coin and say heads or tails. What is better? Every logical human will say, well, they're the same. It's the same coin. What's the difference? It's 50%. Yeah. Your beliefs are 50%. Your side is 50%. It's honestly you believing in heads is better than tails is ignorance. You believing that heads is going to come up 100% of the time and tails is just going to fall away is ignorance. Where did the coin come from? Where did heads and tails come from? That's the questions we need to ask because they're simple. It's not attacking anybody. It's basically if it's attacking both sides. So it's very neutral in a sense. That question I really enjoy to raise to most people.
Indeed. So, Mr. Charlie, as an author and a chief consciousness officer, what are your short term and long term goals?
With the position of chief consciousness officer, I'm pioneering this position to the world. So it's brand new. It's a couple months old. Uh, m- Many companies, many executives, many podcasts, 60 in the past 4 to 5 weeks, are very attracted to it because of what it is and what it's not. The goal is to get more awareness about this position, just kind of like 30 years ago when technology took over and companies started hiring chief technology officers. The goal is to get this position within organizations, but then to help get hundreds, thousands, getting companies worldwide to hire the position of chief consciousness officer and have it become a staple within the organization. A staple, just like a CTO, a CMO, a CRO, a CEO, a CFO. Helping that this position is going to help marketing expand from here to here. It's going to help them expand their awareness. It's going to help the CEO with strategy. It's going to help HR understand who they should hire. It's going to help the chief financial officer. But this position is going to help employees. It's going to help mid-level managers. It's going to shift the entire culture. It's going to shift the consciousness and awareness of the entire organization. It is not spiritual. It is tactical. It allows everyone at every level of the company to understand they are consciousness and they have access to this vast resource. Anything they want to know, they can tap into. So the goal is to get hired by a good sized company, let the world pay attention to that, and then have companies worldwide start to hire for this position.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. Charlie,
Thank you.
and looking forward for more success. What would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Look into consciousness. Just look into consciousness. And wherever your awareness points, you will have access to that information. You have access to everything you want. But just start to better understand what consciousness is, who it is, who you are, what you are, how you're related to it, what you have access to. Consciousness is everything. So if you're looking to be a certain way or do a certain thing or understand something or get better here, get better there, it's all coming from consciousness. So why don't you tap into that source? So start to research consciousness.
Mr. Charlie, can you share a story of someone who applied no sides and experienced breakthrough?
Yeah, when you really tap in to consciousness, you tap in through meditation, mindfulness, you tap into awareness, you tap in just by simply listening to this conversation. It really awakens you to realize that you have gone your entire life thinking the other side is creating all the damage in the world. It's pretty sobering when you wake up and realize you too are creating the damage that is ruining the world. Those experiences happen every day. Those experiences are awakening in individuals time and time and time again. So when it comes to direct experience or a good story, it happens all the time. every day, all day.
It happens all the time indeed. As I said, history repeats itself. And if readers adopt just one habit from your book to live beyond sides, what would it be?
Be aware of your upbringing. Be aware of your education. Be aware of your conditioning and your bias. Be aware of what your parents taught you, your teachers taught you, your friends taught you. Be aware of it, meaning question it. Could I possibly be wrong? Could there possibly be more? Could there possibly be another side that is just like mine that I'm an opposement to? Just be aware.
Just
Ask
be
different questions.
aware. Yes, people, be aware in everything. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Charlie, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course my book 101 review in its fifth season too, comedy 101 second season, and of course my food 101 in its fifth season as well, geography 101 and fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 review in its fourth season, as well as my Music 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Charlie, what belief or identity did you have to surrender to write this book?
I had to just let go of bias and conditioning. I had to let go of it all. I had to take everything my teacher helped me understand and just let it all go.
Can you share one of those beliefs?
Believing I knew a lot of stuff. I know I don't know. I know that we will never know what consciousness is. I know that consciousness is just a construct, but it is what we are, and we do have access to it, and we can tap into it. But thinking that our little tiny human minds, in such a small perception of time and space, can know, can know consciousness, can know this fully, is just not the case.
Well, Mr. Charlie Johnson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world as being a chief consciousness officer. Can you please invite our listeners to support The Truth Has No Sides and of course being chief consciousness officer?
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
So where do people can grab your book, Mister?
On my LinkedIn, linkedin.com/CJ Consciousness.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Charlie Johnson because if you support him, more and more empowering books like this to come, and of course, more and more empowering Chief Consciousness Officer to come. So, Mr. Charlie, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me on.
More to come, people. See you soon.